Alright, this is gonna be good. Hey guys, I just got done watching some videos that have come out from Vidcon 2017 in California. The highlight of which was the exchange between Anita Sarkeesian and Carl Benjamin, better known as Sargon of Akkad. He's actually one of the featured channels on my channel. Go and check him out if you're not familiar with him. But the long and short of it is there was a female panel discussing the issues surrounding harassment of women online. And Anita Sarkeesian, who's the founder of Feminist Frequency, singled out Carl Benjamin, who's Sargon of Akkad, sitting quietly in the audience, and she decided to take it upon herself to harass him by calling him a shithead and a garbage human. If you're interested, you can go and search for the video. It's all out there. I'm not going to cover the video. The skeptic community has covered this from every angle, pre-confrontation, during confrontation, and even post-confrontation with interviews of all of the witnesses that were there. It's been thoroughly covered if you want to look into that. But I'm going to use it as a segue for me to talk a little bit about a couple of the issues I have with modern feminism and some of the conversations that I've had with feminists out here in the UK. Now, from where I'm from in Trinidad and Tobago, we don't have a very large radical feminist movement. This type of ideology is relegated to the universities and probably a couple of fringe groups. But for the large part, the Caribbean does not have this type of third wave feminism movement. But it's been an absolute joy of mine to actually meet some of these women and have these conversations face to face, and sometimes challenge or reframe some of the things that they're actually saying. I'll say many of them don't appreciate that, but I actually do enjoy those types of conversations. Now, feminists always put forward this idea that if you believe in equal rights for women, you are automatically a feminist. To which I would respond, well, no, that's not necessarily true. Now, feminism, modern feminism in its sense, is much more than the idea of equal rights for women in the Western world. In fact, I can't think of any area where women in the Western world don't have equal or even more rights than men. But there is another aspect to it, which is the ideology, including things like the patriarchy, the wage gap, and somewhat of an oppression mentality that also kind of ties into this whole thing that is also part of that entire ideology. But at the same time, a person does not have to be a feminist to believe in equal rights. You can be an egalitarian, meaning that you believe in equal rights for both men and women, and still not hold to a lot of the feminist ideology. A person could be what's known as a complementarian, which is somebody who acknowledges that there are biological and physical differences between the sexes, but they complement each other. And in the realms of the law and government and public institutions, there should be equal representation and equal rights for both parties. So you could be, in that respect, you could also believe in rights for women, but not necessarily hold to modern day feminism. Now, the other aspect of it is this idea that it's all about equality is actually not shown through much of the dialogue and much of the issues that they seem to be suggesting. For instance, we always hear about feminists, championing the idea that we need more women in the realms of government and more women represented in Fortune 500 companies and on the seats of these global charities and all of these other high-profile types of positions. But at the same time, they are never championing more women in the most dangerous careers on the planet, such as lumberjacks and the fishing industry and oiling and mining and all of these other industries that are overwhelmingly represented by men. I'm sure men make up, between 80 and 90% of this workforce. And beyond that, men also make up, maybe 80 to 90% of the workplace accident victims as well as the fatalities. But the women have no interest in trying to get more women in those types of positions, but all about creating quotas and artificial, divisions and ways to discriminate against men when it comes to these nice, high-profile, high-paying positions. And what I mean by discrimination is if you set any kind of quota, artificial quota in by gender, suggesting that you want 50-50 gender representation, instantly you are discriminating either against a woman or a man depending once that quota has been filled. So for instance, if there's 100 positions and you want a 50-50 quota, the minute 50 men apply for the positions have been filled, you instantly begin discriminating against every other male candidate that comes in. And similarly, the reverse. If 50 women have applied and those positions have been filled, you begin discriminating against every other woman that applies for that position, whether she's capable of the job or not. So quotas are basically a different form of discrimination, and I am definitely against that. I believe the best candidate, male or female, should get the job. Now, beyond that, there are areas in society where women enjoy tremendous rights, even far and away above what men are actually entitled to. The biggest area of this, of course, is in the area of reproductive rights. Now, if a young lady gets pregnant, regardless of the circumstances, depending on where she is in the Western world, she has the choice to keep the child or possibly have an abortion, depending on which trimester cycle she decides to do that. And of course, different areas, different countries have different rules about that. And if she does have the child, even then she's given the choice whether she wants to give the child up for adoption or if she wants to keep the child herself. Now, the man in this scenario has no choice regarding her decision to keep the child or not. He has no choice or say whether he wants to be a father or not. He has no choice whether to say that he wants to financially support her choice to keep the child and be subsidizing her decision for the next 18 years of his life. In many cases, the man has no say in this position at all. As long as she gets pregnant and keeps the child, the father, regardless of circumstances, is on the hook to pay child support, at least for the 18 years of the child's life. Now, I, for one, if we're really talking about equality, I support the idea of what's known as male financial abortion. In other words, I believe much like a sperm donor or a surrogate father can be used to impregnate a woman if she wants to have a child, that same right should be given to every father early on in the process to decide whether or not he wants to be a father, and if it is, he wants the responsibility of financially supporting the child to the age of 18 or whatever the law is of the land. If it is we're really talking about equality and women have the freedom to choose, I believe men should also have the right to choose whether or not they want to be a dad and take on that financial responsibility. But for the large part, the feminist movement has been completely silent on this issue. It's been relegated to the realms of the MRAs, the men's rights movements, and a couple other groups. But for the most part, if we're really talking about equality, this is not something that, feminists seem to be very comfortable with. So in many ways, we do not see this idea in reality, the idea that men and women should be treated equally. It seems to fit the feminist narrative very nicely for favorable discrimination when it suits them, such as the nice jobs, the high-profile positions, high-paying positions, and these other things. They want more rights than men when it comes to the idea of their reproductive rights and all these other things. And they have no problem if the system is unjust or discriminates against men. In the case of reproductive rights, the man is on the hook for 18 years, even if he's been coerced into fathering the child, or the woman has the child just to trap him into some kind of relationship. The man still has no say. Even if the child doesn't even turn out to be his, many times men don't even have the right to ask for a paternity test. So again, this idea, it's all about equality and all of these other things, it doesn't seem to play out in reality. And I, for one, am against discrimination on all grounds. Whether it's sex, race, religion, or whatever the case is, I believe the best person for a job should get the job. And similarly, when it comes to the issue of parents and fathers and families, I don't believe that women should have all the rights. I believe there should be an equal say for men and women to decide whether they want to be a parent. So I might do a couple more videos. I'll probably discuss the issue of the patriarchy as well as the oppression mindset. This is by no means a full explanation of everything. But guys, if you like this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification button if you'd like to be alerted when new videos are uploaded. And if you disagree with me, that's absolutely fine. We can have the discussion in the comments below. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and do check out Sargon of Akkad and his channel if you're not familiar with it. I do have him listed as a featured channel on my channel. So thanks again for watching, guys. All the best to you. Take care.